Welcome to the Fantasy Throwdown Podcast, bringing you the latest updates from the world of sports, gambling, and pop culture. Because you can't have a show without hot takes or a Tiger King meme these days. Know what I'm saying? Now, with over 200 episodes and ready to get after it again, here's your host, Dwayne Callender.
Hello, welcome to the show, folks. So we're going to get into the conversation I have with my dad before in a bit. But, you know, I keep getting questions on the Yankees, and it's very tiresome. Nothing has changed over the last 2 months of me ripping on the Yankees to now. I kept telling you the Yankees were in trouble way back. This team is poorly constructed from a fundamental standpoint. There is no fix of getting a player in here that's going to salvage this season. This team is done. This season's over. The only thing is you're probably going to see Brian Cashman do a couple of panic moves. And I'll tell you, Trevor Story, Byron Buxton, you know, these guys on deals that are coming up, like, those are not salvaging the season. The fundamental problems with this Yankee squad: bad defense, very similar hitter profiles, too many lopsided lineups because there's no balance between left-handed and right-handed batters, too many sluggers on the team. There's so much redundancy on this squad. And guess what? That falls at the feet of Brian Cashman, who's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere, folks. Hal Steinbrenner has no inclination of changing Cashman because, frankly, he has no business running the store. Hal Steinbrenner is one of the most inattentive store owners you will want. He doesn't want to be bothered. That's why he shows up to these press conferences over Zoom with the press in like a jumpsuit sort of thing. He doesn't want to be bothered with the Yankees. That's why George Steinbrenner never wanted to give him the team in the first place. That's why he split it between Hal and Hank, because at worst, he figured Hank, who actually cared about the team, would be able to balance Hal, who just cares about making money. But Hank passed away over the last year, and, you know, it's just going further downhill. Let me be frank. The only thing Hal cares about is if the money keeps coming in the door. If the media rights for the Yankees, because they were able to secure that Amazon deal as well, they're still going to be making money on the plus side this year. So, at the end of the day, it's still going to be a success in Hal's mind. If he fires Cashman, he's going to have to go through the effort of bringing in someone to run that organization, handle the PR, go through the motion. Like, he does not want to deal with that. He really doesn't. So, at the end of the day, for everyone complaining about the Yankees, it ain't getting better anytime soon because you actually need a hands-on owner, and the Yankees do not have that. That's why he delegates it to Cashman, because he knows Cashman knows enough that he doesn't have to be bothered. And then he can just listen to whatever Cashman says. Boone's the scapegoat. He's done. But at the end of the day, this is on Cashman and his philosophy, which is inherently flawed, that's driving the day. But in order to get rid of Cashman, you actually need Hal Steinbrenner to be engaged with the team, which he clearly is not. And so anyone who's saying that this is just a bump in the road for the Yankees, I got news for you. It can definitely get worse from here. Because Baltimore, even though they're still bad, they're actually, if looking at their prospects, and looking at what the Orioles have been able to do the last year or so, Baltimore is actually getting there again. Like, Baltimore is actually going to be good in 2 years. The Blue Jays spent the money. It's going to blow up in 3 years or less. But for this 2-year window, the Blue Jays are going to be a problem for the Yankees. Once the exchange rates blow things up for Toronto, and it's going to happen, it's inevitable, but the Blue Jays are going to be a problem for this 2-year window. And then the Red Sox, now that they've got Cora back, the clubhouse is fixed. Alex Cora is a very smart guy who is well liked by players. This is the problem. That's something the Yankees don't have. Aaron Boone's well liked. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm sorry. Aaron Boone's a very nice guy, by all accounts. He is not a good manager. And also, Boone also takes his cues from Brian Cashman, who is also not a smart baseball guy in terms of X's and O's. So, like I said, the Yankees are at a deficit because the Rays are specifically built to beat the Yankees. They build their entire model to beat the Yankees. So when you've got 3 teams in this division that are well-suited to beating you, and you are still using an outdated philosophy that is over 20 years old, because Cashman's been running this ship for 20 years now, and you have one true World Series tied to you, because realistically, the only team Cashman can truly be considered responsible for is the 09 team. That's it. Everything else is Stick Michaels' work. So Cashman realistically only has one World Series win to show for his efforts over the last 20 years. I don't know about you, but that does not stir a lot of confidence in my mind. So, at the end of the day, the Yankees are in a world of trouble, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. So, anyone who's trying to say that, things are going to improve, I got news for you. This is not the case. It really isn't. So, let's get into the conversation with my dad a bit. We're going to talk about the Olympics in an upcoming episode, because Team USA basketball, I've heard so many dumb takes on that. I got to do a separate show on that eventually. But, let's get into the convo I have with my dad on the Yankees. Also talk about the Packers as well, and some of the melodrama there. But, there are a number of items that have been going on lately. But, yeah, the Olympics basketball, that's something I just we got to talk about. But we got to talk about it in depth, because no one else is actually doing the proper work on it. So we'll get to it. So without much further ado, let's get into the conversation. Well, you got to remember, Callie, as we go back with talking about the Yankees, but like teams in general that go so heavy on driving their prospects. So you brought up the Mets with Generation K, because you had Isringhausen, Pulsiver, what was his name? He eventually ended up pitching for the Rays. This was like way after he was done, like as
I can't remember their names. I can't remember. I remember Isringhausen and Pulsiver. I can't remember. Oh my God! I'm trying to remember.
Like I want to say it was Phillips, but it's like I could be wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. But they never, none of them ever.
Paul Wilson, yes, Paul Wilson.
Listen, they never ended up as number one. I'm telling you,
Yeah, so it's like you had the Mets try this. I mean, the Mets tried it again. I mean, if you look back, DeGrom, Syndergaard, and Harvey, the Mets, of course, ruined it again. But it's like most of the time when you try to build like just through your prospects and say it's gonna, like, the most successful case of it was actually Oakland. I mean, as much as people talk about Moneyball, it's still the fact that they had 3 aces on their squad, because you had Mulder, Zito, and Hudson. And, you know, you had 3 aces. Like, yes, money. Like, I know folks love talking about analytics, but, like, at the core of it, you still need starting pitching in order for some of the models that you're trying to base your team around to work out. You still need the pitching.
Yeah. And I know they never won anything. They never won anything.
Well, they still won because their payroll was less, Callie. It was a victory for finances.
You tell that a fan who pays his money and goes to scream in the stand. Tell him we won because we got the lowest payroll.
Hey.
Fans don't know about the red and the black.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because Oakland basically threatened the A's basically threatened the city of Oakland again with moving the team to Golden State or Las Vegas if they didn't at least approve measures for building out a new stadium that was going to be taxpayer funded again.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago I saw that. You know, that they started saying, wait a minute, you're doing that shit again? You know. Because they haven't won anything, you know, so with all the talk about Moneyball and they haven't won anything yet. You know, it's the same thing I say about the rules, and they talk about the low payroll and the way, but you haven't won anything. That's really good for management, but fans in the stands don't understand that we only paid $10 for this guy. Because all they're thinking is that we didn't win the trophy, you know what it is, that's what you get for $10. No trophies. You know? So, yeah. Because when the Yankees was being called the evil empire, and we were piling up World Series trophies, nobody gave a shit how much you was paying those guys. You know? The fans didn't care. You know what they know? Every October they were jumping up and down in a canyon of heroes. So it's all well and good for people to talk about what prospects you're holding on to and how much you didn't pay. Fans do not care. They want trophies. You know, Barcelona fans don't care how much you pay Messi, as long as when the Champions League is over and the league is over, they jumping up and down in the streets and burning cars. Okay, they don't give a shit. What are you telling me about? You know, fans want wins. They want to celebrate. You know, I mean, look how many fucking games Seattle won. I mean, if you pile up in the 90s, the amount of times Seattle led the league and won so many games, they never won anything. And fans don't remember that we had the best record in 1990 and 91 and 92. What they know is when they look at the World Series shelf, there is nothing on it. You know, you think somebody going to hold up a regular season trophy? You know.
Winners of the regular season. Beloved winners of the regular season.
That shit. You know. Yeah. But the thing with the Yankees is what Stan Branham can get away with is that in New York people are always going to come out to see the teams, because even when the Knicks were shit, those teams...
Whoa, wait. Hold on. What do you mean were? I keep hearing people say like how great the Knicks play this. Listen, The East was bad this year. I want people to understand this. Milwaukee won a title based on the fact that Brooklyn got injured in the middle of the series. It still went to Game 7. If Kevin Durant's toe doesn't end up on the three-point line, Milwaukee gets eliminated by a one-man show, and everyone in Milwaukee gets fired. And Giannis probably leaves anyway. That's how close the Bucks came to losing it all. So,
Giannis can tell me what he wants now. He can say anything he wants now, because when you win, you get to talk as much shit as you want. Giannis had a pen in his hand, okay? And he was out the door in Milwaukee if Kevin Durant had that toe a little further back. He was out, Budenhausen was out, you know. There's no way. He can tell. Why do you think he talks so much about not joining a super team? Because he knows that's what he was going to do.
Yes. He subliminally told you exactly. And everyone's like, yeah, that's what the league needs. Giannis, like, resisting the super teams. And I'm like, I hope you guys realize that he was literally just talking down to everyone because he was already planning to go if this didn't pan out. It's called projecting for a reason.
When you win, you can get to talk any shit you want. You can change your tune as much as you want. You know why? You've won. You know, you won. But, you know, okay, look at Budenhausen. He's probably going to get a new contract.
And he's the worst coach. He is literally the worst, like, that he might actually be the worst NBA Finals coach we've had. Flat out the worst NBA Finals coach we've had. Because you want to tell me that the masterful stroke of what he did against Phoenix was the fact that he let Drew Holiday play defense. I'm sorry. You want to tell me you couldn't have done that like from the beginning? That's not a technical a stroke of genius. That's literally the very basic of your job. The bare minimum.
One of the things is luck is that, and they haven't said anything, but you can't tell me something didn't go wrong with Chris Paul after Game 3. I don't know if it's his hands. I don't know what it is.
Listen.
But Chris Paul was never the same. He kept throwing the ball away. His ball handling skills went south. You know, he couldn't handle the ball. And he couldn't shoot the ball.
You can tell that Chris Paul's injured. But here's the thing. Chris Paul always gets injured. There's always something with Chris Paul. It doesn't matter what the situation is.
I think that's why he didn't say anything this time, because it's like, here we go again. He always gets injured, which he always does. You know, it's always. I mean,
but it's like, but even with Chris Paul injured, I still put that series on Devin Booker. Because Devin Booker regressed to starting doing all the dumb things he used to do in his early years. Because Devin Booker started forcing up so many terrible shots, he allowed Milwaukee to run their offense. Because Milwaukee's offense is predicated on you taking a bad shot and then Giannis being able to get to run with a full steam ahead. Because you're in transition and Giannis is faster than all of you. By leaps and bounds, he is faster than all of you. So as long as that knee was healthy, Giannis was always going to be faster than everyone else on that court.
Yeah, if you make Milwaukee play half court, you'll kill them. They can't play half court. They're not good at playing half court basketball. You know, and if you allow them to run and gun, then they will do they'll kill you running up and down the court. Because that's the honest game.
Yeah.
But but even in the wins, you saw the amount of crap that Budenhausen was letting. His thing is let the other side play bad, and then I can win. It's not strategy-wise with him. Yeah. Because he was, even my friend down here, it's like, oh my God, I'm not watching some of the Olympic things. Lily King ran her mouth about the U.S. going to win every swimming race. And she hasn't won a race since she went to Japan. Even in the heat, she was getting beaten. And she swam to third place in the final. And that's one of her pet things.
What, Kelly? I kept saying this to folks. I can't get even remotely interested in this Olympics because this Olympics should have never happened. This Olympics is just so idiotic, and it's driven purely by money. I can't get excited about any of these events. Like, to me, I've watched some of the niche sports, but I can't get excited for the swimming. Like, no, I'm not, because to me, the whole thing with the swimming and the gymnastics, those only work because of the crowd, and you hear the reactions of the crowd. When you just do it in a closed-off area, to me, it's just like, any other practice. It's like, it is just not the same deal.
Yeah, like I told you, I see everything now on the ticker from ESPN. I haven't watched any other races or anything, so I don't know. I saw something about Simone Biles is less than perfect. I have no idea what happened. If she fell down, if she won a medal, I have no idea. I was sitting talking to some friends, and I saw the ticker going across, and I didn't see anything more, so I have no idea. I saw that, and I saw John Ram tested positive for COVID, and I said, "A fucking game."
No, well, the thing of it is that it's not that he tested positive; it's the fact that he hasn't been able to clear the PCR test, so he still has the particles in his system. That's the problem. It's not that he's positive for COVID necessarily. Yes, it shows up as a positive test. But really what they're testing is, could you be considered potentially contagious? And that's the problem. He can't pass that test.
Oh, because the way how they said it, I'm like, how the fuck he get that again so quick?
No, it's not that he contracted again. It's just the fact that they're measuring if he's potentially contagious to folks. And that's the problem. He's registering high enough that it's a potential that he could be a spreader, and once that happens, you're done.
Oh. Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, but the one thing I'll say though, Kelly, and this was my point again before, when it comes to the Yankees, don't be surprised if Cashman makes one of these desperation trades, because it's clearly obvious this team ain't making the postseason at the rate they're going. So don't be surprised if they make a desperation trade at the trade deadline to make it look like, oh, we care about the fans. Like we're trying to we're trying to win here. We're committed to winning. We're gonna make it happen, guys. Like, don't be surprised if that comes up, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna turn into a case where they make a trade and they bring in whether it's like a Byron Buxton or Trevor Story to bring in someone who's going to be a free agent. So you make a trade for someone who's going to be a free agent anyway, give up prospects, and still have to try to re-sign that guy anyway.
Aaron Donald's the best defensive tackle ever? I don't know.
There have been a lot of great defensive tackles in NFL history. I mean, technically, Reggie was an end, but I mean, but I mean,
the Yankees acquiring Clay Holmes from the Pirates. Pitcher.
Well, yeah, that's a relief pitcher. Okay.
I know. That's gonna spark the team. Look, let me tell you something. The Yankees have so many places I would want to fix. I'm telling you, the first guy I would get rid of is Cashman, because I don't like how he assembles the teams. It's always a big hitting team, and those teams usually don't do well in the playoffs. Because
but Callie, now that every team is just going for big hits, now they can all win in the playoffs because they all look the same. That's the stupidity of all of it. They all try to do Moneyball, so now everyone's saying, "Well, it works." It's like, yeah, because all of you are running the same variation of Moneyball. No one's trying to do it a little bit differently. It's comical at this stage.
The problem I have with Cashman is all he has to do is go back and look at the roster when he came in as manager, and look at the guys you had. There were a lot of contact hitters. You know,
he hates contact hitters.
But the problem is, once you get on base, one hit can break the game open, and it doesn't have to be a home run. You know, yeah, every now and then you like your home run. You know, because Jim Lewis hit one of the best home runs I saw, and it brought us back, you know, in that series against Atlanta. Yes, a home run is good, but relying solely on the home run hitters, see how much we've won since we started doing that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, they can say what they want, but the Yankees are in so much trouble overall as an organization. Like, people don't want to admit, like, the Yankees could be the beginning of them just kind of going down the rabbit hole, because, like I said, the Stanton contract isn't going away. You have to make a decision if you're going to pay Judge or not. To me, I know you can't offload Stanton's contract. You may be better off just trying to trade Aaron Judge in a sign-and trade. People don't want to hear that, but being honest, you're probably better off trading Aaron Judge if you're the Yankees.
What? Judge is 4 years now? Is it 4 years now?
He's still under team control, but the payday is coming soon. Like, you may be better off trading Aaron Judge just to get out from having to pay him, because to me, if you're having to pay Judge and Stanton, you've just already lost. You've already lost. Like, you have to figure out a way of getting rid of one of them. And to me, no one's taking on the Stanton contract.
But I don't understand. I remember when the Yankees signed Stanton, and I never understood why they made that move.
Because it comes down to Cashman likes power bats. He always loves power bats. That's always been his heart on.
And show me, since Stanton has been a Yankee, where has he torn it up?
He only can do it in spurts, because he can't stay healthy. That's the thing. He can't stay healthy.
That's one of the first things with him. As soon as but it's the same thing with the Judge. Judge gets injured at least 3 times every season. And that breaks your momentum. Because you end up having to rehab and to come back. Check the great players. Reggie Jackson never got injured. He never. You never see them injured. You know? That's one of the things about hitting. You can't be injured all the time. You know? And both Judge and Stanton, sometimes they both out of the fucking lineup. They both do that. So, like you say, okay, you're stuck with a Stanton contract. Don't make a mistake and add Judge's a big contract onto that. You may as well look for the prospects. Make the big trade. You know? But I don't understand with the Packers. That's the deal you should have made all the time instead of having all this animosity. He doesn't want to there, you know. So all you gotta do is, everybody talk about that. He got 3 years, void the last 2 years, let him play this year, make an agreement that you won't franchise him, and you know he's going after next year. That's the reason you drafted that quarterback anyway. Hey, you know, because they clearly didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to be as good as he was last year and win the MVP. So I thought they should have made that deal a while ago instead of letting this shit drag out all over the summer.
Listen,
I have
never underestimate the desire for white people to sound like they're the smartest person in the room. Like if you listen to the Packers, Gutenhusen or Gutengertz, like if you listen to them, be as smarmy and smirky as possible when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, you know this guy's a prick. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. So as soon as Aaron challenged him, he's like, "Who are you? I'm the guy in charge. I'm bigger than you, Aaron Rodgers." Of course, that's how he was going to treat it. It doesn't mean it was a smart way of going about it. It's bad business. You knew from the get-go. You knew from the get-go you were going to replace him. He knows you're going to replace him. Why are you being coy about it?
It's the stupidest. It's the absolute stupidest thing you can ever think about. You know. So.
Because he's trying to make it seem like it's a win for everyone. It's like you basically forced everyone into this position anyway, and again you get nothing for letting Aaron Rodgers walk after this year. Like realistically, the smarter way to go about it would have been just to trade Aaron Rodgers and just take the abuse from the fans. But he didn't. But again, to your point, they didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to be as good as he was last year, so that's why they couldn't trade him.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. They you know, if they knew that, if they could look at their crystal ball, they would have traded him before last year. You know, because it's like you can't trade the MVP, and he's a fan favorite. So they got stuck with that, and they stubborn that, you know, he can't tell us what to do. He can't treat us like this, you know. And the problem was, like I said, the fans don't see those things. about it. All the fans know is that when I go to the stand, I'm cheering like hell because this guy is cheering people apart. You know? So, the reason the fans was on Aaron's side because they're looking at Jordan Love and saying, if we get 2 more receivers with that pick, you know, if we shifting our top line receiver, you know, if they get like the guy in Seattle or somebody like that, maybe they go to the Super Bowl last year. You know, so I think that's the whole thing. That's what they look at. The fans don't give a shit about what you think about how much money you save and how smart you think you are. You know. But this guy, whatever the fuck he is, I can't pronounce his name. He's as obnoxious as you would ever want a general manager. You know. Because I can say, right now, you're making a deal where Aaron Rodgers is going to leave, and you're going to get nothing for it. And he's not at the end of his contract. It's not like he was like Brady, who played to the end of his contract and got to leave as a free agent. He's not a free agent. He's got 2 more years. And you're going to end up voiding those 2 more years. And the only thing you're going to get out of it is that you save money. You know, the Packers are not going to get anything for it. They're not going to get a pick for it. They're not going to get anything. You know. So Aaron Rodgers is going to get to walk for free. Yeah. Because the money you're going to void on that contract, he's going to get it back when he signs someplace else. So I don't understand why you let this go all over the summer when if you knew that, you didn't just go in a back room and negotiate that deal quick and, like you say, take the little abuse from, you would only get abuse from the fans in Green Bay. But any fan with any kind of sense is going to still abuse you now that you do this. You know?
Yeah. Because the other thing about this is the fact that, you know, as I was looking through it, and like people just don't understand, people would just butcher the reference because it's like the reason why Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams were posted a photo of The Last Dance. Everyone's like, well, you can't call it The Last Dance because the Bulls actually won a title together, and Rodgers and Adams never won a title together. It's a stupid reference. It's like, it wasn't called The Last Dance because the Bulls won a title. It was called The Last Dance because the Bulls knew management was going to break them up and was forcing them out the door. It's like the Bulls knew that it's like we could we would be in a position to win a title, and management is still going to force us out the door no matter what we do. And so that's why they called it The Last Dance. Because they called it The Last Dance because it didn't matter if they won the title or not. The management was forcing them out the door. That's why it's called The Last Dance. I don't understand how people didn't get that reference. It's not because the Bulls had already won titles. It's that it didn't matter if they won a title that year or not. Management was going to break them up.
He was getting rid of Pippen. He was getting rid of the only guy who would have been able to stay is Jordan, and Jordan didn't want that. But he was going to get rid of all those guys because he doesn't want to he didn't want to have to pay Pippen on them.
Yeah. Krause didn't want to pay, Reinsdorf can say whatever he wants because they always make it about Krause. It takes 2 to tango. Jerry Krause Jerry Krause works for Jerry Reinsdorf. Jerry Krause can't do that unless Jerry Reinsdorf signs off on it. So, again, the Packers don't have an owner. So, realistically, Gutenhorst like he in this case, he's the sole arbiter. He's the one who actually gets to make that call because there's no owner telling him no. So that's the only case where the Last Dance parallels don't hold up, is that the Packers don't have a true owner. They have a CEO who's making the final call here. But the reason why it's the Last Dance is because Rodgers and Adams know no matter what, even if they won the title, even if they won the Super Bowl, this ownership group, this management team was going to break them up. Because you realize Davante Adams, they never gave him an actual proper contract extension negotiation. The man never got any of that. It's like he's been a top 5 receiver for over 6 years now. Never got one legitimate discussion. Like, all these other receivers getting paid. Davante Adams is like begging for crumbs.
Yeah.
It's like Aaron Rodgers can't get a number 2 wide receiver. Davante Adams can't get a contract extension. It's like the Packers like literally did this to themselves.
Say what?
But anyway, Callie. Before I let you go, how do you feel about the Dream Team struggles, given the fact that not a single one of them outside of Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, nobody else has really actually played Olympics basketball besides Kevin Durant. Like, I love how everyone acts surprised that it's like, wait a second, this isn't the NBA? They don't allow you to travel at will? What's going on here?
Yeah. Tell me something. Well, let me tell you something. Like I say, the one good thing is that I have no interest in the Olympics, so I haven't watched any of those games. Any. You know, I don't have the time to bother. All right, so we'll talk later.
All right, take it easy, Kelly.
Okay.
All right, take care. All right, that's going to do it for me, folks. Again, we're going to cover the Olympics a little bit further on in an upcoming episode. But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there are a number of teams across Major League Baseball that have issues. None more so than the Yankees that could actually be trying to make major moves ahead of the trade deadline. And I just think it's going to be a complete waste of trade assets. But who knows? That does it for myself, my pop, who joined me today. So enjoy the day, everyone, and until next time.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Throwdown Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all other major outlets.